Hello everyone, welcome to the Chill Therapist podcast. Things don't always run smoothly when work, family, studies, and other responsibilities pile up together. We feel overloaded with stress. This is very common, but if we can recognize it, we can take back control of our mind. So, let's jump right in. When I was doing my master's, that was the first time I really experienced stress overload. On one side we had assignments, on another side we had client cases, case notes, on top of that there was research work. We had to juggle all of this at the same time, and it was a requirement of the course. That's how difficult it is, and that's how difficult it is to get into that course. They only selected the best of the best, right? So during that period, I noticed three symptoms would almost show up every day: headaches, back pain, and stomach pain. I struggled with them every day, and it would come in a cycle, almost like a cycle, right? So, and every morning on the way to the college, so I would not be thinking about what I'm going to do in the college, but I'll be thinking about what I'm going to do after I come back, right? So, should I write, should I work on the research? Should I write the case notes? And the midterms are coming, right? So I have to prepare for those things, right? So these are the things that would keep running in my mind. Whenever I would share this with my friends, right? So that's when we would jokingly say, "What on earth is this?" And when the next assignment comes, oh my God! So it just hits you there and then. At one point, the stress became so overwhelming that I stopped working altogether, thinking no matter how much I do, it's never enough. So I'm not going to finish all my case notes in one day, or I'm not going to because it will be there. Like, so the next week I go for an internship, so the case notes are going to come. So it's not going to end, and the research is not going to end until I finish my thesis, right? So I felt like I don't have any control over things, and what I did, I stopped working altogether, right? Like I said, right? So I didn't work for like 1 to 2 weeks, and it affected me because, as you know, everything was piling up. Like, so the other case notes, like, so the other work and everything was piling up, and I didn't study for the midterms also, right? So that's when my one of my good friend sat me down and explained the concept of learned helplessness. So let me give you a small example from the animal studies on learned helplessness. Right, so imagine a dog that's placed in a situation where it keeps getting mild shock whenever it tries to leave. So at first the dog will try to escape, it will try to leave from the door, and it will get the mild shock and it will go back, right? But after repeated failed attempts, what it does is it stops trying. So even when the door is later left opened, so it will never go. So what has happened is the dog has learned, in quotes, that nothing it does will make a difference. So it gives up, just like us in most of the situation. Humans experience something very similar. So whenever we have overloaded stress, and so we have these common symptoms of fatigue, anxiety, lack of motivation, and most importantly, procrastination. So that's what I did, right? So I kept it aside, and I thought I'll finish it later, but I was not able to finish anything, right? So when do we feel all of these stress overload, right? So when we are overloaded with work, right? So in our workplace, like, so if we have a lot of responsibility, lot of projects, and we are juggling them, right? So that's when you would feel this. And during exam time, or right, so, and also even during family responsibilities, right? So that's also a common scenario that someone might feel this. Right? So what are going to be the long-term effects? So obviously I told the short-term effect, like, say, it can affect you physiologically, emotionally, mentally also. And even in the long term, right, so it can lead to chronic stress, which can lead to other health related issues like BP and other things. And it can also lead to depression and burnout. So what happens is that, right, so our mind goes into this false belief that I can't control anything. Right? So there's no point in doing anything, right? And we start to believe this false belief. So we create a block for ourselves, and that's when so we put finishing of things to later time, and then or even having the belief that I will not be able to do this, right? So and so when this happens, right, so it's obviously difficult to break this helplessness cycle, right? So but with few simple steps we can break it, right? So for any stress related issues, first thing that we'll have to do is identify the stresses. Write them down, whether it's from work, personal or social pressures. The next thing that you can do is focus on what you can control. Leave out the things that you cannot control. So you cannot control someone's so if you have finished something and if you are waiting for someone's approval, you cannot control that. You cannot ask them to keep aside their work and do your work first, but you can celebrate that you have completed it, right? So start celebrating the small wins. Like so for example, finishing a small task that can give mental relief, right? So like everybody says, life is a marathon, right? So even if you have a small project, that's also a marathon, right? So it's not, don't focus on the end part of it. Like so try to focus on the smaller parts that you have, the smaller steps that you can take, right? So for example, what I did was, instead of focusing on finishing all the case notes or finishing the case notes every day or even finishing the internship, right? So I started taking it one day at a time. So if I can finish all of my case notes of that day, then I win, right? So that gave me a mental relief that okay, so I don't have to think about this case note for the until the next week, right? So that's how I try to control things that I cannot control, right? So and then what you can do is also you can start doing some stress release activities. So walking, exercising, hobbies or meditation, even 10 to 15 minutes of these things can make a lot of difference, right? So what I did was so I tried to give myself a reward of watching an episode of Game of Thrones every day, right? So it kind of gave me relief from stress at that time. So now would it give? I don't know. Like walking can help right now for me. So and the last thing that you can do is basically the first thing, but the last most important and effective thing that you can do is seek some support. So I tried to reach out with my friends, and then I also took up a personal counseling session. So that's something that I did to talk things out, right? So talking things can really help with your stress and really help with the burden. So with doing all of these things regularly, right? So you can try to take control of your senses, try to take control of your mind, and that false belief that we talked about, it can come down, right? And which will naturally reduce your stress levels also. So the next time life throws you into a what on earth is this moment, remember it's normal, but by following these steps, you can build a stronger sense of control, power, and confidence in your mind. In the next episode, we'll talk about who am I, imposter syndrome. Until then, this is your chill therapist signing off. Take care of your mental health, stay safe and stay healthy. Bye bye.